Alrighty, and we are back with the second match of this triple header. We have a losers bracket matchup for you guys. Now it is going to be Lala going up against Skob in this round of 16 matchup. And oh boy, love the fact that we have implications now. As always, my name is Sparky, and joining me once again, Sunny. Sunny, how are you doing?
Hello, Sparky. We are back for a losers bracket match like you have mentioned, and we are going to be in for a ride for this one. To be as much as a ride as the last match was, but not to say that these are very close seed. These are also very close seed differentials as well. This is 28 against 21. So not as close as a 1 seed differential, but 7 is also fairly close.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like there's potential for these two to really go the distance, but it really comes down to who really latched on in terms of finding their comfort picks inside of this map pool, at least for these two. And right now, I mean, this is Lala's warm-up ends. Let's say, wait. The players are flipped, so I was gonna start singing the praises of Lala, but Skob actually, sight reading this, I think Lala created this just for their warm-up, and they're doing a pretty nice job of this. This is akin to maybe the difficulty of the qualifiers, so
Yeah.
maybe... Ooh, okay. All right. Taking some inspiration from Nimrod, I see, and doing those crazy stop teleports. I appreciate it.
This is not the first time we have seen, especially players from France, absolutely cracked at SV charting.
Absolutely. This is very much playing into my interests with regards to some of these SV gimmicks, and I feel like starting to see some speed ups here that are just overall BPM change. Sometimes hard to tell, but I mean, both these players holding on very nicely to this chart overall. Very much more difficult than what they'll be playing through in this match, so signs of things to come potentially in terms of the lower performance we'll be seeing from these two competitors.
Yeah, and also, like you mentioned in our last match during their warm-ups, it's good to see we have some more 2 key maps actually being uploaded outside of our mapping team over here at Sparks 2 key event. Even though they did dip into the funny juice at some points into the chart, it was definitely creative and fun. So
yeah, it's very much yeah, a little bit silly, but I mean, to be fair, if you're making the map, might as well throw some stuff you like in there.
yeah, I mean, that has been an ongoing trend, just in tournaments overall, having some fun with the warm-ups and the roles coming out. Skob going to be taking the role 38-59, which means they get the opportunity for that first pick. Lala will be getting the first ban of this match, and I honestly, seeing based off of that performance in the warm-ups, I think they're probably going to avoid the more speed-based picks. And oh no, we're actually going to see Hybrid 3 get the ban hammer, which makes sense. I mean, that map is also very, very tricky.
Yeah,
especially
maybe just
that. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say maybe just not enjoying some of the pattern structures inside of it. It's understandable. The hybrids definitely do feel like a bit of a wild card, and for the first time in a hot minute, the SV chart makes it through the banning sequence. Rice 3 going to be eliminated here.
It's one thing to have both LN picks in the map pool, but it's another thing to have the SV pick standing as well, alongside the long node picks too. So that is very interesting. And Skob going to immediately fire out a hybrid 1 pick.
Yeah, this one has its ebbs and flows in terms of difficulty. There are definitely some very tricky sections with regards to rice patterning and then transitioning into LN anchors with some very nasty things to do on the other column. But I feel like this might give us a bit of a tell as to how these players are feeling with this map pool overall, and could really set the tone one way or the other. As the players are ready, we're going to get into this first map of this best of 9. As I mentioned earlier, this is a losers bracket match, so loser of this match will be eliminated from the tournament. Winner will move on to the losers quarterfinals.
Yeah, the winner will be moving on to either verse Cub or Happert Gamer in the losers quarterfinals, depending on who loses that match. Cub, also known as Silicosis 2, if you are not familiar. But here we are underway with Hybrid 1. Skob having a bit of an early lead over Lala, just accuracy-wise, as Lala is down in that 98 range. They were in the 97s, but starting to climb up their accuracy fairly decently, while Skob not also having the fancy sub starts, but keeping that lead in their side above 99. A pretty solid beginning for both sides. Now that lead's starting to close in as Lala is climbing up their accuracy at a fairly fast pace.
Yeah, most importantly, able to keep pace with the full combo as well. No mistakes from either of these players so far as we transition on into the second third of the chart. But as I say that, the first real dense LN transition gonna catch out Lala here and gonna help Skob balloon this lead to the tune of about 30,000 points, with still the back half upcoming.
Yeah, that was a pretty nasty drop, but Skob trades it back, but they are still a full percentage ahead of Lala.
Yeah, but now Lala's gonna have some potential free time above that 400 combo cap.
Yeah, and you still have this back half of the map to go. Lala definitely has a long 400 combo cap run before Skob makes it up there. And that's not even accounting for if Skob wants to find any more drops on these shields or these mini attacks. Same applies for Lala. But as we continue on, some pretty nasty trills and some LNs. Ooh, Lala finding a pretty big rush on those LNs. That's going to drop them down to a low 97 range, while Skob hits that section, as they are still in that 99 range despite that drop. And now they're up to that 400 combo cap. Now that lead's going to increase for Skob now. And Lala finding a drop, that's not going to add any sort of help to them. That's just adding more salt to that growing wound. And for now, Skob pretty much in the driver's seat now with this lead going into the final section of this map now.
Yeah, full 3% gap between the two players. Skob, despite that drop halfway through, able to recover very nicely. 99.2% accuracy at 950 plus K score. Not one to scoff at to open this up, and they're going to get the first break point in this match to make it 0-1.
Yeah, a very solid effort from both sides at the beginning. Skob with the no miss, only catching up on a few LNs, having the better ratio by over half, and also the 200 counts, basically just beating out Lala in practically everything. While Lala also put up a very, very solid effort as well.
For sure. So now waiting on Skob to throw out their first pick here to start this match off. And I mean,
I'm pretty sure it's Lala's pick.
Oh, my bad. I gave Lala, or I gave Skob an extra pick here by accident. So yeah, waiting for Lala this time around to throw out their first pick. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw a dive into the SV immediately. The physicality requirement, not...
Rice 4.
Ooh. Okay, gonna put that thought on the shelf. Rice 4 going to be the option here. Another pretty technically demanding chart to open this up for their side. See if they can maybe find a bit more purchase compared to Hybrid 1.
Yeah, and this is a pretty technical based chart. This is pretty much everything just kind of, it's kind of an all-in-one chart. You pretty much have everything from very fast mini jacks to some pretty bursty technical sections. And I think there are even some jacks scattered around this chart, if my memory is not failing from the showcase. But pretty interesting pick out of the 3 Rice picks you have. I thought maybe Rice 1 would get the pick, but no, we're going to head straight for Rice 4.
Alrighty, both players loaded in here. See if Lala can restore parity or if skob can pick up the first breakpoint in this match. It's a pretty long Rice chart, all things considered. So plenty of room for recovery, but ideally you wouldn't want to be making the first mistake as Lala finds a 200 on the few LNs this chart has to offer, but still very early going.
Ooh. But they're really rushing these sections, finding a pretty excessive amount of 200s. That will not benefit Lala one bit, as skob is more in that blue range of the unstable rate bar, but they are starting to drag a bit on these trills. Them also collecting a few 200s, but they are still roughly 9,000 points in their favor of lead. Both players holding up very well into this LN-based section. Lala will be given a bit of an accuracy boost from that section, but still almost roughly a full percentage difference, which will give skob the lead, and by quite a wide margin too.
It is crazy that both players were able to hold on through that entire section, just double taps into those elongated anchored jacks. Start to get into these polyrhythmic structures, very awkward timing on the offhand, not catching either player out, but as I say that, transitioning back into the second section of it, Lala does find a drop, and that's the window opportunity for skob to really balloon this lead out of control. 42,000 points and climbing, still holding on to their FC on their side with a third of the map left to go. The accuracy discrepancy really starting to make an appearance here as the players settle into this last quarter, and skob fully in control once again.
Yeah, that was definitely what broke the camel's back in this situation. If things couldn't get any worse accuracy based for Lala, they did find that drop, but they are actually doing fairly well with trying to climb that accuracy up. 98 for them, but skob just overall not finding a single miss throughout this chart, I believe, and also just having the better accuracy overall, just having the better performance, and Lala not going to help at all with another miss added to that collection. And I mean, we only have this final jack-related section to go, and skob with a 60,000 point lead, that is very demanding on their side, and just like that, they're going to be taking the first break point of this match.
Yeah, very strong performance overall. 982k on a chart like that. That is absolutely ridiculous. And very well deserving of that first break point, as it is now going to be their second pick in this match. Get me a chance to see what they go for. I feel like the avenues of approach have expanded here now. Seeing their performance on Rice 4 gives them maybe a little bit more to work with in terms of what they wanted to pick, but wouldn't be surprised if we saw them dive back down into that lower half of the map pool. Maybe an LN1. Hybrid 2 is also a consideration, as well as that speed chart.
Yeah, I was about to bring up the speed map, and there it is. They are going to opt for Tropical Club, the speed map going to get picked. And honestly, if you are going to go for a dense pick, you might as well just go for the one that has been dedicated to being extremely fast and dense. Although the BPM does not show it, only on the outer shell, making it seem like it's 120 BPM. Oh boy, that is not the case, because if you double that by 2, it is 240, and there are 240 BPM mini jacks in this map.
Yeah, especially that back half. This first half is going to feel very innocuous to the players. Just a very straightforward patterning, a couple of 1-4s dotted in for good measure, but once they really get into that outro section, that's really where the performance can be made or broken either way. And right now, pretty balanced starts overall. Skob building up a bit of an advantage based off their 0.3% accuracy lead, but could evaporate in an instant as we dive into the first real big KI section.
And Lala having a pretty rough start accuracy-wise as they are down in that mid-99 range, but it is nothing too much to worry about, as I believe it might just be a couple 200s as Skob still kind of lingering around that 99.9 range as more of these trills become more dominant with a sprinkle of those 240 mini jacks like I mentioned. But like you did say, it's just kind of this beginning section that leads into the back half that really, it doesn't really matter. And here we go into the hard section of the map where the speed really does show. And so far, both players unfazed by that first part. They do wind down a bit in speed, but it's going to immediately kick back up after here. And here we go as the mini jacks get more dominant. Lala starting to rush some 200s here and rushing that trill section, as that will just give Skob a bigger lead.
This is an insane run from Skob so far. Unperturbed, a couple of 200s. Lala finding the break at the very end. Double starts to run through, and I feel like it was one too many sequences for them to overcome. And Skob putting up one of the scores of this map. 992k, 200s.
Oh my goodness!
Nearly a double-digit 300 count.
Wow. And this is a losers bracket match. This is our 21st seed in the losers bracket, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, they called out a choke. They called out a choke. Stop. Stop.
No.
That's crazy.
No.
The fact that they probably have a higher score on this is disgusting.
I'm willing to bet double-digit 300 count, V1 double S, 996k.
More than likely. It always happens. Just a little bit of a jitter. The fact that they can call that a jitter. It's crazy. That's
happens to the best of us. And Lala,
price too.
A bit surprising. Right. I mean, maybe they just are not comfortable with that SV pick.
Maybe.
I would have thought they probably would have went for that SV pick, but there are some very awkward timings. Yeah. And also some very, very awkward patterns SV-wise to go along with that map. So gonna kind of do a little curveball here and gonna go. Actually, no. This has been pretty much what they have been going for.
Yeah.
With these Rice picks, they are gonna go for Rice too. And good news, Skob is in sight reading.
I mean, the good thing is, for Lala's sake, they were hanging on really nicely on that speed pick just a little bit earlier. This is a bit of a toned down version of it. They can handle the hand switches in terms of the number of notes on each hand before starting to snake around. They could swing a pretty contentious performance to try and rival up against Skob, but on the flip side, Skob kind of made mincemeat of that speed pick, and this is very much in their wheelhouse in terms of skill set. It could be another very dominating performance, potentially. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, but so far, both players having a pretty solid beginning, as it's only about 1,000 points in Skob's favor. Lala just probably finding an excess amount of 300s, but there is a 200 from them as I say that, as it's a pretty normal beginning with just having to balance those mini jacks on both sides of the columns. Nothing really much to worry about, as it's just Lala finding excess 200s on these sections. That's not going to benefit them, but only 3,000 points. But there's a miss. That is going to do a lot.
Especially with the 400 combo cap coming through for Skob. They did find a 200 and a 100 on one of those elongated streams, so not entirely invincible when it comes to the performance, but very fortunate to avoid the miss. As we continue on, going in.
Wait a second.
That is a massive drop from Skob now. This is the opportunity Lala needed to get themselves back into the pick. Now it's just up to them to maintain their composure. It is starting to swing back and forth. They have the accuracy advantage now.
Yeah, and they are well closer to that 400 combo cap as well. Even though that lead started to flicker back and forth, I'd reckon if Lala just keeps that combo and reach that 400 combo cap, that lead will start to go in Lala's favor. And there it is, the 400 combo cap, that lead starting to increase now into the thousands to the side of Lala, going into the back half of the map. But skob is slowly but surely creeping up in accuracy. It's just as long as Lala stays ahead, but they drop to 200.
Not out of it just yet. It is going to come down to if skob can keep this clean, able to keep the next doublet section intact, up over that 400 combo cap. Now has the accuracy lead once again. The recovery run is here on their side, but Lala's right there, ready to snatch it up. There's a 200. They're not out of the woods just yet. Can either of these players avoid the pitfall of these longer streams when you get to that 5-6 note count on the one hand, if they can keep it steady? But as it stands, skob 2,000 points is closest we have seen these two. The next doublet section doesn't catch either players out. It is still teetering on a knife's edge. Oh no!
No! And there it is! That is the deciding factor right there, Lala. It was looking dicey, but unfortunately the miss from Lala at the tail end of the map gonna give skob the lead and the point and the break point as well as the match point as well. They are being put in a match point situation on their own pick. And oh my goodness. This is not looking good for Lala.
Yeah, and skob saying dropped inputs. That is unfortunate. I mean, to be fair, the ratio, you can very much say it's a mechanical issue rather, because I mean they were pretty dialed in there up until that doublet section where things got a little shaky there. The players do know it's to 5, right? skob's got another pick, but I feel like Lala might see the writing on the wall a little bit. Don't blame him. It's hard. It's very hard when you have opponents that can put up scores like that, especially on stuff like that. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Hopefully, Lala.
The good thing is neither player is left.
Yeah, both players are still in the lobby, and skob, all the good maps are gone. Okay, you know, skob, there's one map on here. Oh,
wait.
okay.
Oh, okay. Damn. Alrighty. I feel like you were about to go into this elongated pitch about SV, but no, it's gonna be Hybrid 2.
I was trying to pitch an SV pick, but they just slapped me in the face and no.
Alrighty, so it is gonna be Talk and Missile coming through here.
Yeah, skob looking to shut the door on Lala and looking to punch their ticket into the losers quarterfinals and looking to either verse Silicosis 2, also known as Cub or Happer Gamer, next week, while Lala is gonna try to take a breakpoint and stay alive for another map. It's all gonna come down to this pick right here. Introing this map. So far, skob having the better act, but we just started off with this map. There is still plenty to go, especially with that map almost reaching that 3-minute mark. You just have so much to go, and especially with that later half of the map, with that pretty tricky timing section where you're just countlessly hitting long notes on one side and hitting mini jacks on the other, and skob finds an early miss, but look at Lala's accuracy. They're down in the 96 range.
Yeah, not in a position to capitalize on that early mistake from skob. Gonna be able to make it to that 400 combo cap, so maybe gonna be able to scrape together some points on their side, but 10,000 points, quite a bit of a margin to work with. skob already back up at that 99 mark, able to recover from that earlier hiccup, and both of them making it through that long switch anchored jack section into this calm bit of an interlude. 2/3 of the map still left to go here.
This is probably Lala's best chance to kind of climb up that accuracy, as you do get a little bit of a tamer section of the map but Skob is also slowly but surely creeping up as they are about to cross over that 400 combo cap, and as we kick things back into full gear, Lala needs to climb that actually a bit more. Skob entering the 99 range now as we are approaching the back half of the map. Now that lead is going to increase in Skob's favor as they cross the 400 combo cap and reach the 99% threshold. 16,000 points in their favor, but we have yet to reach the real tricky section of this map, like I mentioned, and it's vastly approaching.
Yeah, this last quarter really flies off the handle a little bit, and in terms of combo neck and neck,
yeah, they are not feeling it at all on this section. And I mean, I cannot really blame Lala. That is the hardest part of this map. Such awkward timings, and Skob takes it like a champ.
Yeah, very well played from them. The worst of it is now behind them, but that was the opening that they needed to really put this map away. Already 100,000 points to margin. Lala with another slider break for the road. It is too little, too late. Very well played. That last map when they played Rise 2, very closely contested, but ultimately Skob has been in control this entire match. And they're going to take it 5-0, knock Lala out in the round of 16 and punch their ticket into losers quarters.
Another clean sweep. That is the that is the 5th recorded clean sweep this weekend, and we are only through Saturday, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we start to close ranks a little bit. We start to see the people that are really starting to find their footing in terms of how to play 2-key. But that will do it for this match. Very well played from both players. Kudos to Lala for putting up a valiant effort, and congrats to Skob for moving on. There is one more match in about half an hour. We'll bring you guys the last of this triple header.
And yeah, like you mentioned, one more match remaining. Commiserations to Lala for trying their hardest throughout this match and this tournament, but unfortunately it just was not enough. But for Skob, they will be cruising on to the losers quarterfinals to verse either Happer Gamer or Silicosis 2, aka Cub. And we have one final match to round off this triple header, like you mentioned. It is going to be Basil versus Alemanno in about half an hour from now. And oh my goodness, that is going to be a match.
Oh, for sure. Definitely do not want to miss it. It is going to be another winner's bracket match. But until then, we'll shut things down here a little for just a short while. And we'll be back at the top of the hour with that final match of this triple header. Until then, we'll catch you guys later.
Goodbye.